When you're first getting started, you hear all these terms being tossed around like assessment, consultation, and sales conversation, and they all seem like the same thing. But today, we're going to reveal the most powerful way to be able to get parents saying yes to your services, and you won't want to miss one single moment. So put away those devices, get a pen and pad of paper to take notes, because I am going to share how I stopped giving away free sessions and get clients to take that next step and hire me. Hey there, my name's Joanne Kaminski, and when I got started tutoring reading online, people were skeptical about doing online tutoring. I mean, at least that's what I thought. And some would ask questions that seemed like they only wanted in-person tutoring. And today I hear people that hear the same things, even though people have been doing this for over a decade. Because of the skepticism, I thought I would offer something above and beyond what anybody else was offering. So I gave everyone a free assessment and 2 free sessions. And then after the second free session, I would have to have a sales conversation. And I did this for a full year before changing my system. And I'm going to share the big ahas that I had from this process. But first, let's take a look at what a free assessment is, what the purpose is, and some examples of assessments that you can use. So a free assessment is where you have your student go through tasks related to the area that you tutor to find out what their level is and where his or her gaps are. Assessments are typically used in schools, but are extremely ineffective because by the time the teachers get the results from the standardized test, it could be 6 months later. There's a new teacher now teaching the student, and how do you close the gap when students struggle in all the areas amongst your entire class? It's frustrating, and no one teaches you what to do next. In fact, most teachers don't even analyze this data, look at it, or do anything with it. And this is the most useless type of assessment. However, the assessment that we use in tutoring is the most powerful assessment in existence. It shares exactly where the gaps are for the child so that you can actually create an individualized plan for each student. So what is interesting to me is that most tutors state that they create these individualized plans, but many of them never assess to find out where the exact gap is. Now, I use this process in reading and use the QRI-5 assessment. This allows you to listen to a student reading and know exactly what they are struggling with if you're trained to spot the gaps. Now, after I give one of these assessments, I know whether my student is struggling with phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency, vocabulary, comprehension, or even if dyslexia is a possibility for the child. Now in math, you can use an assessment like the Adam assessment. I love this assessment because it allows you to be able to, again, be able to see exactly where the gaps are. Is it in geometry? Is it in algebra? Basic facts. You're able to take a look at where they are functioning grade level wise and then be able to come up with grade level appropriate content to help move them to the next level. After I give the assessment, I now give the free consultation. And it's where I give feedback about how the assessment went, and then I move directly into the sales conversation. This has been really powerful for me because I get an answer after doing the assessment if the parent is willing to move forward with the tutoring. Now, most people make their decisions based off of feelings and not off of logic. And once they see like the data that actually goes with where their child is at, they want to move forward with you because they realize, okay, so now I know exactly where my child was at. I know where they need to go. They feel like they have a plan and they want to move forward. It does take, though, a lot of tutors think that they need to sell themselves, and that's not what the sales conversation is actually about. The sales conversation is all about being able to take a look at what is it that the child needs and listening. So if you are listening to the parent, you are going to get so much further than trying to sell yourself and tell them how much experience you have, why they should hire you, why they should pay the amount that you want to have them pay you. All of these are useless tasks when it comes to them hiring you. What they care about is that you're listening to them. Now, some people, because of the age of their child, they do not need to go with a free assessment, right? Let's say you've got a college level student. Well, your consultation might be based off a piece of writing that they have given you beforehand that you could take a look at, and you can give information that will help them move to the next level. So you have to take a look at what the needs of your specific client are and decide, is a free consultation going to be a next best step or a free assessment? Because both of these are going to lead to them hiring you. Now, the sales conversation's not as difficult as you would think it to be. Like I mentioned before, the entire sales conversation is all about that. I have created a free download for you guys that'll go over the sales conversation. And you'll be able to download this document. Now, the sales conversation has 5 parts. The first one is where you want to find out more about the specific child. Now, don't ask any questions that you've already asked. That's going to make it seem like you're not listening. And these don't have to go in order. Really, the important thing here is that you are listening to them more than you are talking. After that, you can share the results of the assessment. You can send them a final version of all of your thoughts and ideas about the assessment the next day. However, I find that they still want some kind of feedback. So I go through my notes and I give them the feedback that I feel is going to be most useful at this point in time for them to move forward. And then the next thing you want to do is tell them what you can do as a tutor. Like, where is the hope for them with this entire process? Do you feel like you can help them? They need to hear you say that. And then you ask if they are ready to get started. And then after that, you ask which day of the week is going to work the best. Now, I personally have my students fill out a registration form. And on that registration form, they have the ability to tell me which days and times work. So that by the time I get to that final conversation, I already have checked my calendar to see which days work on my calendar and theirs, and I can suggest a time that will work for both of us. And so I can say something like, so I noticed that 5 o'clock on Wednesdays works for you, and it also works for me. Would this be a good time to meet on a regular basis? And sometimes at that point, they're going to start to ask some questions, or they'll just say yes. And then I tell them that the next day I'm going to send them more information about the assessment. So the biggest difference between that assessment and the consultation is what I am doing in that process. So with the free assessment, I am listing out, I am actually testing them to find out where the gaps are. With the consultation, I am listening to them about what they are struggling with and seeing how committed they are to moving forward. And then the sales conversation is where I get the amazing opportunity to move forward with them. So that's the basic difference between all 3 of these. Now, if you've liked this content, please hit like and that subscribe button. This kind of information, you know, I think is really helpful for tutors when they are getting started. Because when I got started, you guys, like I said, I was giving away 2 free sessions, and giving away a free session is no longer something that needs to be done. You don't need to give your time away for free doing free sessions. There are some areas of tutoring where the students will go from free session to free session to free session with other tutors. And so by giving away the free sessions, you're allowing that opportunity to happen. And this particularly will help happen in the ESL community. But you know that you have the opportunity to still move forward with them by going through this systemized process of being able to get a client to say yes to your services. Now, I have gone over the entire sales funnel of what does it look like when you're going through this sales process and creating a perfect system that moves them from point A to point B. So if you are interested in learning more about that, then click on that next video and you'll get more details on that. Thanks for joining me, you guys.